Spare version 2 coming. Harry's pointless court just proves that he and Meghan conspired for a new version of the disaster book. I've been doing my best to follow this case consistently, and from everything that I have read and heard so far, it seems like Harry is treating this high court appearance as an extension of his book. All of his pent-up anger about past lives and questions of identity are being brought out for everyone to listen to. Maybe he's getting some sympathy, but it doesn't seem like he's getting any real hard facts of definite media phone hacking. We already know that Harry is not the brightest crayon in the box, and his singular lack of curiosity is one of the most shocking things about all this. For example, Harry says that for 12 long years, from the first suggestion that James Hewitt may be his father, he was worried that he was going to be thrown out of the royal family. I mean, come on, Harry. All he really needed to do was ask his father or either of his grandparents about it, if the rumors were true, and he would have known immediately that he definitely is Charles's son. But no, he just allowed this little pain to fester and grow until the possibility became a monster that he couldn't even face, and a monster that deeply affected his life. And it is sad that Diana's words were reported in the media that Harry wasn't very bright, because also that has affected his existence in a negative way. It's the same old story. Two siblings, and one is told that he or she is very smart, and the other hears that they're very pretty. So the smart one believes that she's not pretty, and then the pretty one believes that she's not smart. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't really matter, because the children believe it to be true. So Harry accepted this idea that he was second-rate, and these strong feelings of insecurity have meant that he became the adult who fell for Meghan, a woman who fed his ego and convinced him that he really was her love. It was not the media who ruined his relationship with Chelsea at all. It was the fact that she actually was an ambitious person, and he never was. He believed that he was more than enough just by being so entitled and at the same time incredibly needy. Well, she wanted more out of life, and she didn't necessarily want to be in the glare of publicity that surrounds the royal family. Many people out there think that they are envious of the royal family, because all we can really see is the wealth and the glamour. But what people don't necessarily see is the burden, the sense of expectation, that is placed on this family from the very day they are born. Even in modern times, that's not changing. Let's look at little Prince Louis, for example. Some people criticized him because he was fidgety and he looked upset while he was watching the Queen's Platinum Jubilee parade. And the hours of boredom and behaving perfectly were forgotten in that instant of a 4-year-old getting frustrated by his lack of freedom. He just couldn't be himself on that day, and I understand that was upsetting. He's just a little boy. Just imagine what it would be like to have to look perfect every single time you step foot out of the door, just in case a photographer is nearby and catches a glimpse of you. And who would want to spend their whole life supporting good causes and appearing at all these meetings, all these teas, presenting prizes and awards and shaking hands with thousands of people? And then after all that, you would have to attend so many state banquets at which you had to be polite and hold your tongue and talk to somebody you probably have nothing in common with, and you can never make a mistake. So Harry's perceived slights just got worse and worse until they became the festering wounds that we see bursting in court. And of course, he was helped by Meghan Markle. Her sole goal in life seems to be to destroy that which she couldn't beat, the royal family, and I am sure that she has encouraged Harry in all his excesses. So how is this going to end? Well, it seems like Harry's lawyers did not do a very good job of preparing him, unless maybe he has struck out on his own. He's just ignoring their advice, which I would believe. Maybe he just hears Meghan's voice ringing in his ears as he's spewing forth his complaints. Is it entertaining? Well, a little bit. But does it contain any real proof? Well, no. That doesn't seem to be anywhere to be found. Will Harry end up getting anything? Or is he just going to come out with a big old debt for legal fees? I'm not sure. Maybe he's going to get a little sympathy money, but I don't think this is going to be the big payday that he wants it to be. But then again, I am not an attorney, and I don't understand these things completely. But considering what Harry has been saying since he got into the witness box, obviously he is a very disturbed person, and he is still trapped in the mind of a little boy. Obviously he has no powers of reasoning. And as he left the court, his attitude told me that he really believes that he won, even though he didn't give any real evidence. See, in Harry's mind, once again, he had a platform to show how the media ruined his life. He's not going to take any responsibility for his role in that. Now, do I believe that the press hounded him? Well, yes, obviously that happened. But any logical person would understand that the stories were out there to make money, and to give them ammunition by acting like such an idiot was only feeding the beast. The rest of the family were also bothered, but they figured out how to ignore the stories and just carry on with their lives. Now, Harry's father advised him to ignore the stories, but as usual, he wasn't going to listen to his father's advice. While Meghan is basking in her own glory in California, she really did set up Harry. Both of them need to be locked away in separate institutions. Do you all remember when the hand-holding began? It was pretty early on in the relationship. See, that was after Meghan had convinced Harry that the clicks and the flashes of cameras were just too much for her. She needed him to protect her. So Harry was finally able to come to her aid in a way that he couldn't do with his mother, and that is how he views his role still. It doesn't really seem to occur to him, or maybe he just doesn't even try to figure things out for himself, that Meghan is inviting the cameras to be there to take the photos. She needs that publicity. Harry still believes that she is so scared, and it is his job to make sure that she is kept safe. One day, maybe he's going to wake up and smell the coffee, but since he's obviously still under her spell, and she has convinced him that she really wants to stay out of the limelight, so he views himself as her savior. And that's why he is bringing this case forward. He needs to protect Meghan. She really is an evil, evil demon. And if Harry loses this case, it could be really good for him. It seems like he cannot show the court that there were illegal methods of obtaining information. Now the burden is on Harry to give proof, and so far he hasn't been able to do that. Being a Prince of England with a pretty sad story is not going to be good enough. Losing might help him see the reality that he brought this case thanks to his belief in alleged illegal methods, so he needs to be able to show proof. He was treated as he should have been on cross-examination, and he's not getting special treatment, which I am very happy about. He's not going to get any apologies and/or compensation just because he believes that he's owed it, because he's a prince with a belief system. His truth, let's remember. And I'm basing all of this on stuff that I have read in the news of the cross-examination and Harry's answers. He says stuff like, "Oh, I don't remember. My feelings are hurt. I believe they hacked my phone." Now, if Harry wins this case, boy, is it going to be bad. The floodgates would absolutely open if people went to court without any proof of these alleged events. Now, Harry seems to believe that because of who he is, that he is somehow above the law in the UK and in the USA, and that somehow he doesn't have to worry about the court's requirements. And in some ways, I think Diana is partially to blame because I don't think she disciplined Harry very well. I do wish that she had not been taken so soon. She could have spent more time actually investing in effective parenting, which Harry obviously needed. Both countries are sick and tired of him. He's about to find out that he's not really welcome in either country because of his drug addiction problems and his immaturity. Now, before it all started, I kind of assumed that the judge would side with him on a few of the cases brought, but just dismiss others. But considering that he is using feelings as facts, I don't think this is going to work well for him at all. Perhaps the entire thing is going to be tossed out. We're just going to have to wait and see. But the sooner that it is off UK soil, the better.